Welcome back to the Paranormal Review, and today we're going to be having a discussion on how I review videos, what I look for, what criteria I use to determine if I think a Bigfoot video is fake, real, or a hoax, or if I don't know. Now, I hope you find this is interesting. I hope it sounds okay out here because I'm in my car. It's kind of noisy back at my house. So, anyways, the criteria that I use are a few different things. First of all, my background is I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, so I try to look at things objectively before I come to conclusions. Yet, I do believe in Bigfoot, but I just want you guys to know I'm not the type that's just going to believe every single thing that I hear. I have to look at it, look at the evidence, look at why or why not it could be real, why or why not it could be fake, and then I make my best observational judgment on whether it is fake or real. Now, some people, in a lot of my videos that I've reviewed, they look and they don't like how I review things because they don't think I should look at the reactions of people. I should be only evaluating the creature itself exclusively, meaning that I should not even question people's behaviors. I shouldn't even look at their behavior and be suspicious of it. I should only look at the Bigfoot creature that's being filmed. Now, let me go through my criteria real quick. The first thing I look at is in fact people's reaction, and I'm gonna get more to that in a minute. The second thing I review is the actual creature. Okay. The third thing that I review is why things are being recorded and why is it being stopped. Like, okay. And the fourth thing that I review is whether or not everything together makes sense and what could be other motives for this recording. Okay. And the fifth thing is it just a mistake? Is it just a misunderstanding, a misidentification, something like that? Okay. Now let's go through the first thing. Why is the first thing I do is to look at people's reactions instead of looking at the creature? Well, I think you can see a lot about people about their reactions from their reactions. Okay. Now I think in most every Bigfoot video it's a hoax. You can rule out about 90% of the hoaxes because the first thing the camera does is it turns on and there's people screaming, "Oh my gosh, look, a Bigfoot, a Bigfoot, a Bigfoot. What is that? It's a Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot." Like, normal people don't go out in the forest thinking we're going to see a Bigfoot today. I hope we see a Bigfoot, or with Bigfoot even on their mind, okay? When I go out in the forest, even though I do these Bigfoot reviews, I've done hundreds of them. When I go out in the forest, I'm not thinking about Bigfoot the whole entire time. Of course, it'd be cool to see one, but if I saw a brown furry creature behind a tree, the first thing I'm thinking isn't, "Oh my gosh, look, it's a Bigfoot." I'm thinking, "Oh, it's a deer, it's a bear, it's a goat, it's a rabbit." I'm not thinking automatically right off the bat, "Oh, look, there's a Bigfoot." Okay, so in those videos where people are like, "Oh my gosh, look, it's a Bigfoot," that makes me very suspicious because normal people don't go out in the forest thinking about Bigfoot. They go out in the forest thinking, "Let's go on a hike, let's have fun, whatever, whatever, whatever." And if they see an animal, they go, "Oh, it's probably a deer, a bear, a moose, an elk, or another creature that's commonly seen in forests, not a Bigfoot." It's essentially the same thing as let's just say that I wake up at 5 in the morning and I see my neighbor on top of his roof working on his solar panels. The first thing I think isn't, "Oh my gosh, it's an alien," right? The first thing I think is, "Oh, what is that? It looks like a human. It's probably my neighbor working on his solar panels, or maybe there's a robber breaking through his his skylight or whatever." But it isn't, "Oh my gosh, there's an alien," just because I want it to be an alien. I hope that makes sense. I mean, this is I'm trying to get that through to you people sometimes because to me that's the most important thing is the reaction. On the other hand, when I see other videos and there's people outside and they're going and they're walking and there's the footage is fine and then there's a creature and they're like, "Oh, what is that? Is that a bear? What could that be?" That is a lot more realistic to me than someone freaking out saying, "Is there a Bigfoot? Is that a Bigfoot? Is that a Bigfoot?" I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but that is much more realistic. That's something that I would do if I saw a Bigfoot. And I've had some situations or encounters that kind of, like where it could have been a Bigfoot. I'm not sure though. But when I saw those things, I didn't know for sure what it was. I still don't know for sure if it was a Bigfoot or if it wasn't. But when you see a thing, Your number one reaction is to think of the familiar. What is that, right? Is to think, oh, what is that? You're making if you're making any kind of commentary at all, the people are going, what is that? Is it a bear? Is it a moose? Is it a deer? Oh my gosh, look, it's a Bigfoot. And that's a lot more realistic than right off the bat going, it's a Bigfoot, it's a Bigfoot, oh my gosh. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to ramble too much further on this criteria, because to me it just makes sense to look at the people's reactions, because if the people's reactions do not make sense, and if they are false, then whatever is in the video is also false. I hope that makes sense. People who go out there going, it's a Bigfoot, to me, it sends a red flag that they went out there on purpose, staged it, and then of course that's the first thing they're saying is because they want you to think it's a Bigfoot. Okay? And it's much more realistic if the people don't even realize it's a Bigfoot, or if they come to the conclusion it's a Bigfoot after several seconds or a few minutes of filming the creature and observing that it's a Bigfoot. Not right off the bat screaming it's a Bigfoot, or what is it super excitedly, blah, 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 right? I want to see fear. I want to see those kinds of things. A lot of people who make comments on Bigfoot videos will say, well, why didn't you film it longer? Well, the camera's so shaky. Well, I have news for you. If you see a huge 8 to 10 foot tall creature covered in hair that's 3 times your size, you're not going to stick around there either. So the videos where people sit there filming for hours or try to get super close, to me, doesn't really show a realistic reaction. Because if you are the type of person who's going to run up to a huge creature, you're either stupid or it's not really a Bigfoot. Okay? You're either reckless and stupid, because you're not going to run up to a huge grizzly bear or a Bigfoot. Let's just be honest. You're not going to do that, okay? You're also not going to stay in that area if it scares the crap out of you. So I think all these people running away is a decent, realistic reaction, because let's just be honest, you're not gonna run up to a Bigfoot unless you're an idiot. Okay, I mean, of course, all of us who want to see that footage want you to, because we're not the ones in danger. But anyone who's actually catching the footage is going to be in danger, and they're going to lose their life or be maimed or harmed greatly by that creature. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't lead to easier hoaxes. Of course it makes hoaxes easier, because it's easy to fake running away and being scared. But I think even in a real situation is going to be similar to those hoaxes, because Bigfoot is going to freak you out. Okay, let's move on to the second criteria. What the creature does. How the creature behaves and how it looks. Now this is a hard one, and it's really hard to be subjective in this. In episode 1, we talk all about how assumptions about Bigfoot are ruining and are contributing to hoaxes. And what I mean by this is, I'll review a video, and in the comment section afterwards, people will go, well, you see how it swings its arms? That's how a human swings its arms. That's not a Bigfoot, obviously. Or they'll say something like, obviously it moves too much like an ape, so obviously it's not a Bigfoot. Bigfoots act more like humans. No, which one is it? Is it they act like apes, or they act like humans? Or people will say, well, that's that creature's only 6 feet tall. It's obviously not a Bigfoot. Well, are Bigfoots born being 8 feet tall, or do they grow up just like humans, and that one might just be a younger one? They'll say things like, oh, look at the hair, it's all uniform across the body, or oh, look at the hair, it's different colors across the body. Now, what I'm getting at is, when you're looking at a Bigfoot, the actual creature, there's not much you can base it on realistically, because the only thing people base... I know all of you guys are at home screaming, Gimlin Patterson! Gimlin Patterson! Well, what does that mean? Gimlin Patterson is just one of the very first few videos of a Bigfoot. It's nothing more than just the first video. Okay? If for example, what's another pretty credible one to me? The Provo Canyon Bigfoot. Okay, so let's just say the Provo Canyon Bigfoot happened 50 years ago, and that was the very first video put up, and it got famous on TV and in interviews with the Provo Canyon Bigfoot sighters, whatever. Okay, let's just say that person's name was Bob. Well, that's Bob. Let's just say that person was Joe. Okay. All of you people, instead of saying Patterson Gimlin, would be saying, Joe, what about Joe? What about Joe? And it's just because it's the very first footage put up, and it's so good, and it looks so great, There's a lot of suspicious things about that video, though. Gimlin and Patterson had gone out looking for Bigfoots many times. Their whole purpose of being down in that area was to look for Bigfoot, and they happened to see a Bigfoot. Coincidence? I don't know. It could have been a Bigfoot. It could have been staged. It could have, we don't know. But to base all of your judgment on what a Bigfoot is supposed to do on one video is not realistic to me. We've never studied a Bigfoot in the zoo. We've never studied it in a natural habitat. We've never had a scientific study on it. We don't even have a freaking body. I'm not saying that they don't exist. Okay? I'm just saying, if you're basing how a Bigfoot walks on, that doesn't look like Patterson Gimlin. Okay, I want you to do yourself a favor. I want you to go to the mall, sit on a park bench, or a park bench. Go to the mall, sit on a bench, or go to the park, sit on a bench. And don't be a creeper, but I want you to watch all the people that are walking around and spend 10 seconds on each person and watch how they're walking and watch how people are running and watch how people are acting, okay? Some people are going to walk around with their arms swinging. Some are going to walk around with their hands in their pockets. Some people are going to walk around on their cell phone. Some people are going to be jogging in the park. Some are going to be running. Some are going to be walking slowly. Some are going to be looking down. Some are going to be looking up. Some are going to be whatever, running, okay? My point is, look at those people and compare them all to each other. They're going to be all doing different things. They're not, even humans do different things when they walk. We have different posture. We have different habits. Now, what's to say that Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot doesn't walk a little bit differently than another Bigfoot? I'm telling you guys, like, you can't observe, even humans have differences between they walk. If I sat and I watched my brother walk around the park for 2 hours, and then someone showed me a video of your brother walking around the park for 3 hours, I'm going to go, that's not your brother, it's a hoax, that's not even a human, look, it walks differently than my brother. Does that make sense? Like, I'm trying using these analogies because to me it makes sense. Like, you can't judge or observe something based on something we have no idea about. We can't say a Bigfoot walks a certain way or moves a certain way because we don't know that. All we have, there's no evidence. There's no solid evidence showing that a Bigfoot swings its arms a certain way or has arms that are a certain length or any of those things. I've seen breakdowns where people say, well, they take the arms of the creature and they put it on like a overlay of a normal human and say, well, this arms are too big to be human. Well, that's true, but that doesn't mean there's not extensions in those arms. And it's not to say that Bigfoots might even have shorter arms than humans or the same size arms as humans. Okay, when people do reviews and break down those arms are too big to be human, that could be in many different things. It could be an actual real Bigfoot. It could be someone with a costume with arm extensions that make the arms look bigger or the legs look bigger or disproportional. My point is it's really hard to review the actual creature. That's why for me the number one indicator if a video is real or fake is the people's reactions. But when I do review Bigfoots, I'm looking at the behavior, not necessarily the shape of the creature, as much as the behavior of the creature. Okay, animals and humans alike have fight or flight. Okay, the creatures, and in most cases, animals are very elusive. You walk upon a deer, for example, and when you're in your car, for example, they'll look at you and stuff because they're used to kind of cars there and stuff too, still. But most animals, if you walk towards a deer, usually if you're like walking, they'll avoid you. They're going to run away. Okay, they're not going to just stand there looking at you, especially if you're getting close to them. Okay, most of the time they run away and they try to get away and they hide from you. Okay, meaning you're not going to have experiences where Bigfoot is just standing there going, letting you film it, walking back and forth, looking at you for like 20 minutes while you're filming it. Like some of these hoaxes are, where the guys are like, look, there's a Bigfoot. And they're screaming, there's a Bigfoot, and the Bigfoot is just sitting there. Go up to a deer next time you see a deer, or even a bear, and and just start yelling things. The bear will usually run away, or it might ignore you and keep eating your food or whatever it's doing. But usually, if you yell at an animal, it runs away. Okay. And I'm not to say that we've never. I mean, this is another thing. I'm making preconceptions right now as we speak, because maybe Bigfoots do stand there and stare at you instead of running away. Okay, that could be true. But if I'm looking at all of animal creatures' behaviors in general and saying, well, if most animals are like this, then probably Bigfoots are, then that's what I'm basing it on. Okay. So that's the second criteria that I look on. I try to look and see, okay, well, would a creature really act like that? Okay. Would a creature really, especially if they're supposed to be smarts, like Bigfoots are supposed to be, which maybe they're stupid. We don't know if they're smart or stupid. They could be stupid. We don't know. We've never observed one or tested one in a laboratory. So we don't know if they're really stupid or smart. But if they're smart like they're supposedly to be, then probably they're going to get out of there and not risk a human interaction. Okay? Now the third thing is what are the people doing? Why is the video being recorded in the first place, and how do they end it? Okay? Now, in the beginning, you got to look at, are they already in the middle of the encounter? Okay? Or have they been filming for a while and then the encounter happens? And now this is kind of a tricky one, because if they're filming for a while before the encounter happens, I want to know why they're recording. Are they just recording randomly walking through the forest? Are they just, for some reason, recording? Is there like a birthday party going on? Are they filming an interesting bird? Are they filming, for example, I'll go back to the Provo Canyon Bigfoot. I'll put a link there so you can see it. But, for example, in the Provo Canyon footage, there's I believe their friends or family are going camping, and they think that they saw a bear or something in the bushes, so they start filming. And that's the reason why they started filming, is because they saw that creature. Okay? That's why. So for me, that's credible, because they have a reason to film. If they had just walked up to the thing, put their camera on, lifted it up in the air, and said, "Bigfoot!" I would have thought it was fake immediately. I would have not even given it a chance. I would have been like, that's fake. It's not real. It's a hoax. Why were they filming? There was no reason to film except for there's a Bigfoot right there. But instead, they're filming a bear, which makes sense. And then all of a sudden, it turns out to not be a bear. It turns out to be this Bigfoot-like creature. And then they run away and they're scared. And that takes me to the second point, is the reason why they're stopping to film. If you're catching Bigfoot footage, I want to know why you would ever stop the record and push and stop recording. Why? Why would you ever stop recording other than you need a reason to stop recording? Because it's a hoax, right? Meaning, like, I want to know why you stopped recording. Did you stop recording because you're running to the car and then you just decided to hit stop once you got to the car, and then you uploaded it to YouTube and you cut off the running because there's just 20 minutes of running on it? That makes sense. But if you see a Bigfoot and you're so scared and you're running away and you have the presence of mind to hit the stop recording button, you're really not that scared unless you hit it on accident. Okay? So I want to know why you're recording. Is there something interesting you're recording? Like, walking through the forest and recording for no reason, who does that? Nobody. I've never walked through the forest recording my feet on the ground or recording bushes for no reason other than just to record. I'm always recording a certain, a deer or a bear or something interesting. There's a flower that I want to get footage of. I'm always recording for something. Okay? And then I need to see, okay, well, what's next? Why were they recording? And then there's the Bigfoot. Okay, then I observe what the reactions are of the people. I observe the creature, what the creature's behavior is. Okay, and then I look at the ending, like I was saying before. And okay. Well, does the introduction make sense? Why they are recording make sense? And this one's kind of iffy because there's a slight chance where you walk up on a Bigfoot, the Bigfoot stands up, and you are maybe scared, but you get your camera out and hit record. And that's why the footage is starting right when the Bigfoot's there. That is always a possibility. So for me, it isn't necessarily a make it or break it. It isn't necessarily make it or break it if the creature is already on the footage right when it starts, because that's always a possibility. It's not likely, but it's possible. Okay? So that's why it's like my third criteria. Okay? So I watch the whole video and I look, are the people's actions credible? Are they screaming, it's a Bigfoot, or are they just being normal people filming a Bigfoot? Number two, how is the creature's reaction? Okay? What does it does it actually look like a Bigfoot? Let me go back to that second point about Bigfoot, okay? I do observe the creature enough to tell that it's not a suit, okay? If it's obviously a suit, has like folds in the suit, you can see shoes, stuff like that, I obviously roll those out as fake, okay? But I do look at the creature and I say, okay, is the behavior credible? Is it an actual Bigfoot or is it a suit? If those things pass, then I'm looking at the introduction. Is the introduction credible? And then I'm looking at the exit. Okay, did they stop filming because the creature ran away? And if so, why didn't they try to follow the creature? But then at the same time, that's what I'm saying. That reaction following the creature would actually probably make me suspicious, because who's really going to follow a creature that's super large and scary and try to get more footage? I probably wouldn't. But it's possible that they would. So, if it's so far away, let's say that it's like, several football fields away and it starts to move away, maybe in that case, maybe in that certain video, that it would be a credible reaction to move forward and try to get better footage. So why would they end it before that? Are they scared and running away? Does the video just cut out when the creature is still on the screen? That happens a lot. And a lot of the footage that I reviewed, the creature is still on the screen and people stop recording. And I'm like, what the crap? Why would you do that? Some people have said it's because I wanted to take pictures of the creature. Well, why would you take pictures when you can get video? You can take still frames from those videos. And even if you did take pictures, where are the pictures? And why didn't you start recording again after you took a couple pictures? Okay, I want to know those things. Okay. So, those are basically the four things that I look at when I'm reviewing footage. I want to know, just a quick rundown. I want to know, are they credible? Is the Bigfoot credible? Is its behavior credible? And it's not a suit. I want to know what the people are doing in the video. Like why are they stopping to film? Why are they filming in the first place? And how is the exit? Why are they exiting? If all four of those things don't match up, even if one or two of them make sense, if all of them don't make sense, I usually rule it as let's say all of them don't make sense at all, and they're all leading to like me thinking, okay, they're not credible people. Their reaction's not credible. The creature is suspicious. The people don't have a reason for filming in the first place, and their exit is horrible. I usually look at it and go, this is probably a hoax. Okay, if some of those things make sense, and some of them don't, and it makes sense enough that I think that it could be possibly real, I'll say I don't know. If the doubt overrules that, I'll usually say it's a hoax. And if all four of those criteria make sense and equal that it's probably a legitimate Bigfoot sighting, I'll usually rule it as I can't say for sure that it is, but it's very possible that it is, because I can never say for sure that a Bigfoot is actually a Bigfoot, because there's no proof of it, there's no body there and whatnot. I hope that makes sense to you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it's kind of long. It's like 22 minutes long or something right now, but I hope that makes sense to you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. That's just some of the background of what I look into when I'm reviewing Bigfoot footage. I think there might be one thing that I left out, but those are the four things that I look into mostly. Those 3 or 4 things. So anyways, guys, if you have any footage you want me to review, please leave me a comment in my comment section, and I will go ahead and review those for you. I'm going to have another really amazing footage coming up here soon that was sent to me about a couple weeks ago that I just barely got to reviewing and everything, and it is actually pretty interesting, and I think you should take a look at it. Anyway, guys, until next time, please subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments.